Hey everyone, welcome to the Journey to Steam episode 3. I've been working a lot on the world design and specifically I've been developing the hub location. In this video, I want to show you what I've accomplished and walk through each of the areas with you, breaking down what they are and how they were created. Let's have a look at the hub world. The Intel room is located in the hub world. This room is used to enrich the game's story. You can get more information about characters, missions, and items through text and audio logs that you listen to on the computers. You'll get these text and audio logs during missions whilst you explore levels. There is also a board in the room, but I'm not sure about its purpose yet. When it comes to designing and creating the room, that was quite a simple process. I needed props that worked together and some props that were very unique to this room, so you knew this was the Intel room. One of the important things is making each area distinct from one another, and that is very dependent on what you put in the room. There are other methods such as lighting, but for this environment, the objects in the room are very important, and I can't just go scattering them around. It doesn't make sense for the computer to also be in the weapons room and the map room. So when it comes to the Intel room, we have the computers that you'll be able to access. They have a light next to it, and that's to draw the player's attention. All of the objects are intentionally placed on the outskirts, on the walls of the level. This way the player has a very clear path from this room to the weapons room or to the mission room. I didn't want anything to get in the player's way or bother them. You want to easily navigate a space. I also didn't want it to be empty. Empty rooms with normal maps look quite funny in VR. You need geometry and shapes popping out for the player. This is why I've got all these crates and kind of cardboard boxes and all these objects stacked around, because when you're in VR it gives you a great sense of presence. The second room is the weapons room. This is a location in the game where you will be able to change your weapons, attachments, and gadgets. Basically, you'll be equipping yourself for your mission, as I'm working on a weapon holster system. This means that the weapons you have equipped on your body will be what you take into the mission. The weapon holster system is kind of like a VR version of an inventory. When it came to designing and creating the weapons room, there was a lot of intentional design, but it didn't happen straight away. It happened over time. Before I had the weapons on these crates, and I thought it looked really cool, but there was a problem. The area didn't stand out from the rest of the room, which already has crates. So you would find the weapons eventually, but you had to look around the room for a bit. Because the weapons are dark, because it's a stealth game, they didn't really stand out either. So you'd be looking around and there'd be a black weapon on a grey crate. To solve this, I had these table asset and it had wood. Now, I'm only using wood for the pallets in the level. This means this material is quite unique to this room. It's the only room with a wooden table. On top of this, I adjusted the lighting a bit. The spotlight is perfect and it hits the tables and illuminates them. And there is also the red light on the wall, which I use to guide the player's attention. So the only place to pick up and use weapons in this entire location is on top of the unique wooden table, which has the red light and has a spotlight coming down on it. It's interesting when you go through this process. You have to figure out a balance between something that looks really cool and something that serves the design purpose. And if you can find a happy in-between, then you're in a really great place. The mission room is where you come after you're ready. You've prepared in the weapons room, you've checked out all the intel in the intel room. You come to this mission room, you get a basic mission briefing that you can read after selecting one of the missions. You can also walk around the city and have a look at where it's located in this world that I'm designing and creating. And then you can go to that mission location, complete your objectives, get more info for get more intel for the intel room, and come back and continue this loop. And this is part of the world structure, being able to find new items, find new intel, learn more about the world, equip yourself to be more powerful, and go back out there and complete missions. For the mission room, I was originally going to have a computer terminal as a prototype asset. It was going to be in the center of the room, and you could interact with it, get information, and select missions. But it made the room feel extremely empty. It's such a small asset and it doesn't fill up the entire room. It's also not that interesting to interact with. So I thought back to The Division, and the user interface in that game is really nice. And I ended up looking at some gameplay footage and got inspired by the map that is in The Division that goes on the ground. So I decided to implement my own version of that, a prototype version, and it was instantly way more immersive walking around this holographic city in VR. The other thing that I added was mission markers. These are those little circles with the text saying mission, which eventually you'll be able to highlight and get mission information, select it, and go to the mission area to complete objectives. For the layout of the room, it's just like every other room. All of the objects are placed around the center, so around on the walls, allowing you to focus on the center of the room where the holographic city is. There is one really nice detail that I loved putting in. You'll see from the roof the light shaft coming down, and I thought it looked extremely nice and added a lot of detail to the environment. It also gets the player's attention, which is an added bonus. As mentioned earlier, this is the Intel room. All of the props can be interacted with, and it's something I created back in the first episode. I'm still using the exact same system, just making different child blueprints for each additional item. When I'm creating these areas, I try to give everything a purpose. Sometimes it's not just about function. It can also be about filling the world with details in order to make it more visually engaging and interesting. A good example of these are these books in the environment. They have no gameplay function, but they add detail to the world, and being able to interact with them gives you a better sense of presence within the world. During the first 2 weeks of development, I was really focused on my technical limitations. That's why I created the movement system and the bow and arrow system. I wanted to see how long it would take me to create these systems and how difficult I found them. By doing this, I was able to figure out what my limitations were and how much time it would take to invest in various systems, allowing me to develop a proper project scope and figure out how long it might take me to create this entire project and all of the features. I've improved the weapon systems quite a bit since last week. You'll see now that the guns have ammo clips, so you can put the ammo in and out of the gun. You have an ammo amount, which is currently set to 12 for the M9. Shells fall when you shoot, which is a really nice feature. They bounce on the ground, and you can't hear it because I don't have the sound enabled, but they actually make a really nice sound when they hit the ground. An animation plays on the gun, so you'll see it moves back while shooting. And as I mentioned, you can drop the clip by pressing the A button on the motion controller, and the clip will fall straight out. I also plan on adding in gadgets, which will give the player extra abilities, and this will tie into the more fantasy style of gameplay that I also want to add in. Something I love in a lot of games, such as like BioShock for example, is that you have extra abilities or items which give it a bit more of a fantasy feel. I don't want to make something too realistic. I want to give it something unique and something interesting that's going to make it enjoyable. And it's going to allow you to manipulate the systems in this stealth action game, so you'll have more tools at your disposal to get through any situation and to solve any situation. I'm very happy with the first iteration of the mission area. Even though it's just the first iteration, having the holographic buildings is a lot more immersive than a screen that you interact with. There are a lot of features which I want to add, such as a better holographic material and more interactions, but for now my focus is going to be on creating a mission level and being able to test my level streaming blueprint. So if you're wondering where these videos have been, it's not because I'm too busy or something bad's happened. I'm just still learning to deal with perfectionism and overthinking. It's a constant theme in my life, and part of the reason I started Journey to Steam was to not necessarily overcome, but learn how to deal with being a perfectionist and overthink things better. My goal this week is to treat this as a reset week. Not in terms of the project, in terms of my mentality and my workflow. My goal this week is to get a video out on Friday or Saturday and keep that going. I really want to document my process every week, and I want to do my best to get out of my own way. Anyway, I just wanted to explain why these videos may be a bit late. I see a lot of comments asking where the next video is, and that is why. It's a bit stressful sometimes, but you know, we all have our own things that we deal with, and unfortunately, this is my one, but I'm going to do my best to overcome it. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching my videos and being supportive in the comments. It's really nice to read, and it means a lot. Thank you all for watching once again. I will see you all in the next video.